As you see from the video, the Committee 100 has two missions. One is to serve as a very high-level bridge between the U.S. and China, and the other mission is to encourage the full participation of Chinese Americans in American society. We therefore have established these awards to recognize outstanding individuals and institutions who, in our opinion, carry out the mission of Committee 100, both in the United States as well as in Greater China. We like to honor these individuals and corporations who've made significant contributions in strengthening U.S.-China relations and in demonstrating the excellence and leadership in their chosen field as Chinese and to represent role models for Chinese Americans in this country and abroad. And so that brings us to our first award tonight. Our first awardee is Hank Paulson, the 74th Secretary of the Treasury of the United States of America. Now tonight, Hank thinks that he's being honored, but it is really we, Chinese Americans and otherwise, who are honored to be able to thank him for his incredible service to our country during the 3 most difficult years that we can remember in recent modern times. Hank, through his wisdom, his courage, helped to bring us back from an abyss and to place our country back on a recovery, not only economically, but I think spiritually. During his years as the Secretary of the Treasury, Hank also advanced U.S.-China in many, many important ways through policy, trade, culture, and his own passion for the environment and conservation. As we all know, he created the Strategic Economic Dialogue, which was going on this very week in Washington, and continues to be such a major influence in understanding between U.S. and China. And most importantly, Hank set the example of a model of mutual respect, of establishing common ground, founded on firm positions, but conducted with profound respect and compassion for the peoples of both our countries, the U.S. and China. Not just based on cold facts and negotiations and dispassionate principles, but on the peoples. And not surprisingly, Hank has been an old friend of C100 for many years. He was our keynote speaker 4 years ago when we had our conference in New York, and people remember that so fondly, Hank. So tonight, we hope that he will continue to be our friend, to shed light on the relations between U.S. and China. We think that with the SED talks so recently that he might share with us some thoughts. And we know he's recently returned from Beijing, and so I think we are in for a great treat. So tonight we are immensely honored to honor Hank Paulson. And when Hank comes up for his award, we'd like him to be accompanied by Wendy, because Wendy has so often been reported to be the secret weapon that Hank always had. So Wendy and Hank, can you come up and join me, please?
Well, first of all, thank you all very much, and thank you, Lulu. Lulu knew how to get me here tonight. She went through Wendy. I tell you, that Wellesley connection is very powerful. So, I'll say to all the Wellesley women here, I had they get me every time. I had a grandmother, a mother, a wife, and a sister who all graduated from Wellesley. Now, Wendy and I are in Chicago now, and it's my hometown, and I grew up in Chicago, and it's a terrific place. But being back here in New York this afternoon and walking through Central Park and then walking to this magnificent museum, it just doesn't get any better than that. And seeing all the friends we have here, to all of you who live in this city, it's just a very special place, and you're very fortunate to be living here. It's a great place. Now, I am, again, very honored. It's meaningful to me that to be here with the other honorees, and that Leo Ha, Jim Rogers, Laura Cha, and Chai Guocheng. It's quite a group, and congratulations to you all. And then, of course, I have always admired the great work that the Committee of 100 is doing to improve U.S.-China relations. Now, Lulu said I would make some remarks, and I will, but it's been a long day, and so these won't be long remarks. But I think you all know, I don't have to make the pitch to you, that our relationship with China is as important as any other bilateral relationship. And as Lulu said, the S&ED meetings took place in Washington this week, and of course, I'm a big supporter of that dialogue. And I'm a supporter of it as a way to deal with the most important long-term strategic issues between our two countries. And that was a reason when we put it together in 2006, that was the big motive. But one of the things we've learned is it's also very, very important as a mechanism to build trust and confidence, so we can deal with short-term urgent issues and tensions as they inevitably arise. So it's just so important as a confidence-building mechanism where you get a big group of ministers from China and cabinet secretaries in the United States to deal regularly with each other. Now, there will always be tensions, so there will always be some tensions and difficulties between the United States and China, or between any two nations, and the relationships will ebb and flow depending upon the circumstances of the day. You know, as I explain to people, whenever the United States has close, broad, deep economic relations with anyone, there are going to be tensions. Think, with every major trading partner. Think what it was like with Japan a number of years ago. So I say to people, 25, 30 years ago, there were no tensions with China. We didn't have an economic relationship. And so we can be glad today that we have an economic relationship that benefits both sides, and there are inevitably going to be some tensions.